sorry about your girl, little center of the universe. Axis turns the world. You need a jet to get to her. All the way she moves attracts all kinds of focus from all over the room. She's not ladylike. Do, yeah. She's a baby.
See, my first question was going to be, are you without balls tonight? But clearly you have.
I have one ball. I have one ball with me, and you could do a lot with one ball.
And where would the other balls be tonight?
They're in Portland, Oregon, where it's 70 degrees. It's lovely.
Have they got the better deal?
Yeah. Well, I get to play music tonight, so.
So is this a rarity? I mean, is this something that
We don't normally,
the two of you?
We perform this, the two of us, quite often, but we almost never tour like this. And we certainly never tour like this flanked by gigantic rock bands.
Which is amazing.
So it's like roar, and then we get up and we're just like, hi, we're gonna sing some songs. But I mean, I'm big and loud anyway, and so I have absolutely no time for shoegazing morons who look like they hate their instruments and hate their audience, and they're just so filled with pain. It's like, you know, that makes really good music sometimes, but doesn't make a great live show.
Yeah.
You know, you can be miserable and write a great song, that's cool. I don't have to look at you hating life.
Yeah.
You know, for me, if I want to see a show, I want to see exuberance. I'm so lucky to make a living performing and entertaining and making people happy in a really hard, tough life. People want to come and escape and be taken out of their lives, and it's an honor for me to be able to do that. The connection factor with the audience, I don't know. I've heard that before, where I'm really, you know, vulnerable. Even though I like to think of myself as big and strong and raw, you know, big rock thug, you know, kind of thing. There's a vulnerability. I'm very open to people's feelings, and growing up with a mentally ill parent, the parent essentially is the child. And I was the youngest, but I was the only girl. So instead of really being, I was protected to some degree being the baby and being the only girl, but I was also somewhat isolated in that protection. So I was always kind of love-starved. Because all of the focus was going to my mother and to, oh my gosh, she tried to kill herself. Oh my gosh, we gotta go to the hospital. Oh my gosh, where is she? There's blood in the bathtub. And so there's constant trauma and things going on. And so I think, you know, it sounds maybe shallow, but my exuberance on stage is kind of like, love me! You know? Because like, I love you back, and love me back, and I love you back, because I grew up not unloved, but a little bit isolated, neglected in a way. It was very, very challenging. I used to feel just too sensitive to be alive. Like, I took everything so personally, and everything was so jarring, or so incredible, or so awful, or so tragic. Like, I'd see a bird fly into a window and I would feel it. I'd feel my neck crack, you know. It was just so much. And that's when the drugs come into play, and you want to be numb. You don't want to care. You don't want to care that much. But you can't help it because it's an innate part of your spirit. And I know artists of the highest caliber are pretty much of the same sense, whether their parents were screwed up or their family life was challenging or not. Some of the best artists come from that raw nerve, but we tend to lean towards intoxicants, whatever. And I started doing heroin and anything else pretty much I could get my hands on. So, and sax and stuff like that, to just take myself out. So, and that's, you know, it's not uncommon.
No,
Thank God I survived. It was actually, my mother was always trying to commit suicide. In retrospect, it probably wasn't an actual attempt, though there were very intense moments there. There was touch and go, but if you want to die, we're not that strong. It's pretty easy to do it. But I always thought that was the weakest thing you could ever do. That life, hard as it is an incredible gift. And if you were ever to try and die, then you're just the weakest human in the world. And so I was in the depths of addiction with a horrible human being who was my drug partner / boyfriend.
Right.
It's really bad. And I was laying in bed just kind of shaking and just kind of starting to feel the sick creep in because I needed another bag or whatever. And this voice came in my head that wasn't mine, that said, if you were dead, you wouldn't feel like this. And I don't know whose voice it was. It was a very sarcastic, jovial voice talking down to me. Very happy voice, but cruel. And part of me kind of started to go that way. And but I remembered. I was like, there's no way. I'm not going to die. I'm not going to do myself in. I'm not going to continue down this road. And within a few weeks, I detoxed, and that was really fun. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I wasn't using needles. I was just nasally, whatever. Not that makes it any easier, but I managed to get through it. And then I went to psychotherapy for a year. I couldn't go to NA. NA was a little bit weird and a little intense, but therapy helped me a great deal, and also exercise and meditation.
Great. So you found the balance and tapped into the strength, obviously, that you had.
I kind of chalk it up to my ego, really. My ego, my pride wouldn't let me die, wouldn't let me go out like a chump like that. So I think it was my pride telling me to get the hell up, wipe it off, walk it off, and move on.
Right. Think back to, when you were 15, 16, the people that come to our site are in that age group,
So
right?
an awful time, such a hard year. Hard age.
And even, those subsequent years. But is there anything that someone could have said to you at that age that you think would have made a difference? Thinking about, who might be seeing this right now and maybe experiencing the same thing you have experienced.
That people are, I would want someone to listen to me more than to talk to me. To listen to my dramatic rants, my over-the-top feelings, and not judge and not pander, not be overly like, because I experienced it doesn't work, because you're feeling like it's the end of the world. It may as well be. And if someone is all mealy mouth and extra mommy with you, especially when you're trying to get away from that parental, or someone who's trying to be a pal, and it's really obvious. It's just, you can smell it a mile away. It's like, I know you, and it somehow represents authority. It's really just about listening and not judging.
That's a great lesson for service providers, professionals to know as well. That's really sometimes all people really need is someone to listen to.
Right, and we talk crazy when we're 15. Oh my God, the things that worried me, a lot of times I wouldn't want to talk about because I thought weren't important. They weren't interesting. They weren't important. They were silly problems. They were boring. I was embarrassed to be worried about the things I was worried about at 15 and 16. I wanted to have big, dramatic, glamorous problems. Worthy of attention. A lot of people in my worthy of attention. Like I used to run away all the time, and if I got arrested, well, that was very glamorous. If I got chased by the cops, very glamorous, and that's my problem. Wear it on my sleeve. I'm fucked up. Check out how messed up I am. But if you're just feel like no one loves me, I feel like no one's ever gonna love me, and I'm gonna be alone. I feel ugly. I feel like my hair is stupid. And a lot of that,
those are real things.
Those are real things. And feeling like no one loves you, that's the bottom of it all. I'm afraid. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. I would never admit that to anyone. I wouldn't trust anyone with that. No one my age, no one older than me. And it's just hard because at that age you're trying to assert your independence. And that doesn't sound independent. That doesn't sound tough. That doesn't sound cool. You know, trying to kill yourself, that sounds cool. That's serious.
Yeah.
But it's cutting yourself. You know, that's, you know, but we all have that common, we want to be loved. We want to feel like we belong. And at that age, you almost always feel like you don't.